All right, for your second assignment, you're going to learn how to manipulate photographs using Photoshop. So I have already provided your beginning photo in the T drive. So if you double click, that brings you your open folder. Another way you can do that is go File, Open, and you're going to want to choose this PC, double click your T drive, open up West, double click Dropbox, Kendall, your class period, and the Bulldog folder. There's one file for you to open. So this file is what every student is going to start with. You're going to be using our school mascot to begin with, and you're going to learn how to delete parts of a photo and how to merge photos together. So here is one student example of how they put that bulldog in a new setting. They learned how to add text to an image and how to add some special effects, like this text is glowing blue around the letters. So the way that we begin, we need to erase everything that is in the background or everything that's behind the bulldog. Your first assignment, you learned how to use your magic wand tool. So if you choose your magic wand tool to make a selection and you click the background, the problem is that the fur of the bulldog is white, and the computer can't distinguish the difference between the white background and the white fur. So you're not going to be able to use your magic wand tool on this assignment. So to get rid of those dots, I'm going to click Control D to deselect. If you follow your directions, step number 2 says that you need to begin by unlocking the layer. On your cheat sheet, tool number 23 is how you unlock a photo. So this padlock right here, I have to put my mouse directly over the top. I'm going to double click, and that unlocks that layer. I can just click OK. And then I want to retitle this layer. So I have to put my mouse over the top. I'm going to double click. That's going to let me change the title. So the directions say to title this Bulldog, and then press Enter. Okay, so this is now the layer that has the bulldog on it. So now I'm ready to begin to make selections using what's called the magnetic lasso tool. If you look at your cheat sheet, tool number 3 is your lasso tool. Anytime you see a triangle in the bottom right corner, that means there's more tools hiding. So I'm going to click and hold tool 3, and I'm going to choose the bottom option, my magnetic lasso. Now I can see a magnet at the end of my mouse. This tool acts like a magnet, and when you click on an edge of an image, the selection will cling to the edge. The best thing to do before you start is to zoom in so that you've got your bulldog filling the whole screen. So now that I'm on my magnetic lasso, I'm going to pick anywhere on the edge of my bulldog to start. I'm going to click one time, and now I'm just going to slowly move my mouse along the edge. As my mouse moves along the edge, it begins to cling. But I can also place a point where I click, and that's going to make an anchor wherever I click my mouse so that my line stays where those anchor points are. So I can slowly move my mouse, or I can click as I drag and draw around the edge, and those create anchor points so my selection stays where I want it to. Okay, so I'm just going to finish up over here. When I get back to where I start, I put my mouse over my first place I clicked, and now I can see there's an open dot, and I can click, and it will turn that to a selection. So that's how we begin this assignment. Some of you might experience this problem where you are trying to go along the edge of your bulldog, and your mouse is now going nuts. It's jumping everywhere, and you can't figure out how to make that stop. Double click. That will turn it to a set of selections, so it will stop doing the drawing. Then you need to start over. Control D to deselect, and then just try it again. I like to click my mouse to make those anchor points on places where I've got corners. And it's okay if a part of the bulldog is not precisely selected, because I'm going to teach you how to make it precise. So once I've got the general outline, now I need to clean up my edges. So now I'm going to be choosing the regular lasso tool. This is step 6 on my directions. So I'm going to hold and choose the top one. This is how I begin to clean up my edge. The directions say to add parts of the image to the selection, hold Shift. So right here, I've cut off a part of the cheek. I need to add that to my selection. So I'm going to hold down the Shift button the entire time. I see a plus sign when I hold Shift. And now I'm going to start drawing somewhere inside my selection, holding Shift the entire time and clicking and holding my mouse. I'm going to draw where I want that line to move, and then I'm going to finish where I started. I'm going to let go, and that line is going to move over. So right here, I need to add to my selection. I'm going to hold Shift. I'm going to start drawing inside my selection, holding Shift and the mouse at the same time. I'm going to finish where I start, I let go, and that line moves over. So that's how you add to your selection if you cut off parts to the drawing. But I also have the opposite problem where I need to remove parts of my selection. So this area where the line is too far on the background, I need to remove it so that it's right on the edge. So the directions say to take away parts of an image, I hold Alt. So when I hold the Alt button, I see a minus sign. Now I'm going to reverse that drawing. I'm going to start clicking outside my selection. I'm going to hold Alt and click on my mouse and hold that button down as I draw along the edge. I finish where I start, I let go, and that line moves over. So this is a process of adding and removing parts of my selection. So my goal is to try to get this line as directly on the edge as I can before I move on. So a part of this assignment is me checking to see how closely could you get your line when you were making your selection. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Okay, now I'm ready to delete the background. So I just made a selection which is on the surface of my Bulldog. I actually want to zoom out, Control minus, till I see the whole rectangle of the background of the photo. Now the directions say that, I guess I'm going to go back. Step number 10. Some of you might have this problem. If you've got floating shapes somewhere in your image, you can remove all of those shapes at one time. I want to remove something, so I'm going to hold Alt, and I just circle the whole group, and they all disappear. If I have this problem on the inside of my Bulldog where I have floating shapes, I'm going to add that to the selection. I'm going to hold Shift, and I'm going to circle the whole group, and they all disappear. Okay, so now we're on step number 12. I want to select the background to delete the background, but right now my Bulldog is selected, so I need to inverse that selection. The shortcut is to just right-click on my mouse and choose Select Inverse. When I have clicked that button, now I see dots along the rectangle and the Bulldog. That's how I know I'm on my background. So now I want to delete the white background. So just like in a Word document, when you type a letter that you want to get rid of, you push backspace. Same thing in Photoshop. Backspace will delete. Anytime you see checkers in Photoshop, it means it's invisible. There's nothing there. I just deleted my background. That is what I want to happen. So now I'm going to get rid of my selection lines by just clicking Control D. Once I have finished this step, I want to immediately stop and save this to my personal G drive. Right now I'm working from the class shared T drive. So I don't ever want to have to redo that step of deleting the edge in the background. So I'm going to click File, Save As. I'm going to switch to this PC, my personal G drive, my art folder, and I'm going to leave that titled as Bulldog. And I'm going to click Save and then always click OK. So that way, you just save this step. You won't have to repeat that in case something accidentally goes wrong and you lose this image. So, some students, though, you might experience this problem where you had your Bulldog outlined. You remembered to click backspace to delete. When you click backspace, your Bulldog disappears. That's because you forgot to inverse your selection. So I should do Control Z to undo. I Forgot to make sure I had the dots around my rectangle, so I right-click, select inverse. I see the dots. Now I can click backspace, and that's how I delete my background. So when you have finished that step, now you're going to go to the internet and find a photograph of a background that you want to work with for this assignment. Keep everything school appropriate. So I'm going to click on the internet button, and I'm going to open up image search. And I'm going to think of a location where I want this bulldog to be. So I might want my bulldog at the beach. And let's see, I like this photo. So I'm going to right click, save image as, and I want to make sure I'm putting it in my G drive. This PC, G drive, art folder. And I'm going to make sure it's titled something I can remember. I'll remember beach, and you have to make sure it says it's a JPEG image. If it's not a JPEG, the computer's not going to read that. Now I can go back to Photoshop. Now I'm going to go File, Open, and I'm going to choose Beach. Okay, so now my beach image just opened up, but I lost my bulldog. It didn't delete my bulldog, it's just hiding. Right here is my beach. There's my bulldog. If I click one spot over, if I click and drag, I can separate these two to see them side by side. So now I'm ready to put my bulldog on my beach. So this is step 17. You want to make sure when you open up your background that your image is not blurry. If it's blurry, then it was a poor quality photo to begin with, and you'll need to find a different one that's not so blurry. So now I'm ready to move my bulldog to my background. So I have to click on my bulldog image. I need to switch to tool number 1, the move tool. When I click on that bulldog, I can move it now because I'm on tool 1. I'm going to click and hold my mouse down, and I'm going to drag that to my background where I see the plus sign. I'm going to let go, and that's going to move my bulldog to my background. So now I'm ready to resize my bulldog and place the bulldog where I want within that image. So before I do anything else, though, I'm going to save this. I'm going to go File, Save As, because now I just merged 2 layers. I'm still in my G drive. I'm still in my art folder. And now I might title that one Beach Bulldog. Okay, so now when I put my bulldog on the beach, that is its own layer. If you look right here, this is my layer window. On your cheat sheet, this is tool 18. So I can see my background is its own layer and my bulldog is a second layer. These eyeballs next to these files, I can click and the image will disappear, and that's how I can see what's on each layer. So I need to make sure I'm on my bulldog layer, and this is how I can resize my bulldog. So to transform an image, you're going to click Control T to transform the image. When I click Control T, I'm going to get this little box that appears around whatever the image is on that layer. I can grab the corners and shrink and grow that bulldog. But if I click this little chain link under the letters 3D, that will allow me to shrink or grow my bulldog proportionally. So I'm going to make mine a little smaller. If I want my bulldog to face the other way, I can click any of those side places and pull it all the way across, and it will make my bulldog face another direction. If I want to turn my bulldog, I can put my mouse outside any corner. When I see that corner arrow, I can click and turn my bulldog to change that position. When I am finished transforming, I have to press Enter to set the selection. If I don't press Enter, I can't do any other button. And if I decide I don't like the placement, I can still click and drag and move that bulldog. So I know that I need to make sure I give enough space to put a thought bubble to finish this assignment. So I'm always going to save when I finish a step. Shortcut is Control S. So now I don't have to redo that step.